Hey guys, welcome to Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. My name is Sarah. I am doing a follow-up to the 2 homeschool videos I've done recently, and I'm not doing it to answer the critics because I could spend all day just answering critic questions of they don't like how I do things within my household. The reason that I have a YouTube channel is so that I can share why and how we do things in our household, because people are interested in large families, in Christian living, in homeschooling, in I don't know, all kinds of stuff. So I'm here to answer things that I think people might have questions about. And I realized that some people have asked questions, some of them legitimately, some of them trying to be critical of our family, in the comments below. So I'm going to answer some of those questions. So we have been homeschooling for 20 plus years, and we have done it on a tight budget the entire time. So some of the time that we've done it, Mark has been out of work on disability because he was actually disabled on the job. And some of it has been that we have been working, like he's been working, but we still were a very low income family for the amount of people we have. Or at different times we lived in higher priced housing, and at different times we lived in lower priced housing, and at different times we lived where groceries were less expensive and somewhere it was more expensive. So it's been different all the times. But the things that I shared on the video about how you can homeschool your family for a low amount of money are things that we've done over the years. And sometimes we can afford more, sometimes we can afford less. We live on this property with my mom, and we live here because we like to be able to be close to my mom. We like to be able to be close to this area where God has put us. But we live here because of the mutual benefits for the whole family of grandma being able to be involved in the kids' lives, the kids being able to be involved in grandma's life, us being able to do yard work. You can probably hear a weed whacker in the background while I make this video. So my mom doesn't have to do that, and my mom doesn't have to pay somebody to do the yard work. My mom eats dinner at our house almost every night, and this is the way families have lived for centuries, of families living with extended families, families living near extended families helping each other out. This is all very common in history. It's not so common today. So it might look weird, but it's definitely a way that, one, you can save money, because if you're combining households, you don't have multiple households paying for electric, or multiple households paying for sewer, or even multiple households paying for food, because when I can buy our food in bulk, it's cheaper than my mom buying her own individual food that she needs to make sure doesn't go bad before she's able to use it. Because, if you buy something that is $2 a pound at the regular, like for a small family, but I can buy it for $1.25 a pound for the amount that we would use, it saves everybody money. So it's actually a great money saving tip. And lots of families have done it throughout history. Plus the emotional and mental benefits for everybody involved to have that relationship with grandparents, for grandchildren to be able to learn from the wisdom of grandparents, and for grandparents to be involved in their grandchildren's lives. Grandparents who are involved with their grandchildren actually live longer than people who aren't involved with grandchildren. So it's good for everybody. And we do it because we love my mom. Like, there's so many reasons we do it, and it's not just so we can save money or we can use my mom. I think more families should live with these generational views of the multi-generational living. Some other questions we were asked about not knowing, like, how could someone homeschool if they don't know math? I don't think I said that on the video. I actually do know math. So if that person was trying to be critical, when I was in school, I was actually like on math team and everything. I didn't really enjoy math, but I do know math. But there are so many programs out there to learn. And I would say that I have learned more effectively why why you use math in certain ways from learning with my kids. So everybody can know the multiplication tables or the division, like how to do division, how to do multiplication, how to add and subtract. And they can know, like, okay, 8 times 8 is 64. But do they actually understand that you have 8 groups of 8 and the reasons why you would do it? And if they see a word problem, can they easily decide which math they're going to use on it? That's all part of math. It's not just about knowing the multiplication tables. And so, yes, I have learned more why you use certain types of math in different situations because I learn it along with my kids. And as parents, as humans, we're always supposed to be learning and growing. So I don't know why it would be bad for a parent to learn alongside their child in anything. And we all forget things that we've learned before and need to put them into practice, or review those things. So that's all totally normal to do. I had somebody ask about, and the other part about that is there are a lot of people who are teaching things within the public school system that isn't what they went to school for. So it's not fair to say, oh, this parent doesn't know math as well as other things, so they're not qualified to teach their student. Because there are people out there that are English teachers that are teaching math classes, and it is not their strong suit, and they might not have even done well in math, but that's what they're needing to teach this year because the school system needed a math teacher. So if the school systems can do it and the teacher can learn enough to get her class to pass, then that's great. I had a couple different comments that said something about either how my children learn, how other people learn. I've seen this on other people's homeschool videos. Just because one of my children has a issue where they don't know a subject very well, it doesn't mean that it's poor teaching, or that I shouldn't be homeschooling them. I can give Josiah the therapy and things he needs because I have searched out experts who can help me know what to do with him at home. And it's the same way with if you have a child who's dyslexic, if you have a child who has a speech problem, if you have a child who has trouble writing, you don't necessarily need to send them to a specialist all the time to teach them. You might need to get information from a specialist, which could be through like a one-on-one, you go with them to therapy so you learn how to do it at home, or being able to like read online, or do what you need to do for your student. That happens all the time. But we don't say, oh, public schools are bad because they have children who don't do math well. Now, overall, the students should be able to do, like most kids who are at the end of first grade should be able to do first grade math. They've set their own standard and they should live up to the standard that they've set. But if you have, let's say 95% of the kids in the class at the end of first grade are passing that test, and there's one child who's still getting 25% for a grade, you don't say, oh, that teacher must be terrible. You say, that child must need extra help. Let's get that child extra help. But you don't then say, this teacher is unfit for teaching because this child didn't learn. You go and find out what this child needs to learn, and you give that child that information. Another thing is, I had someone question about, do I need so much time to teach my kids religion, like our beliefs? And yes, I do, because it influences all of the things that we learn about. Everyone has a worldview that they are coming from, whether it be a Christian worldview, a humanist worldview, an atheist worldview. Everyone has somewhere where they're coming from. And let's say you think that animals are more important than people. That's going to come out in the things that you teach. You're going to teach that people are making it bad for habitats for animals. And as a Christian, I think we do need to take care of the world around us. God has given us dominion over the animals, but that is not that we should torture them or, ruin their habitats on purpose and all of that stuff. I'm not saying any of that. But that would skew your view of how you teach everything if you think that animals are more important than people. If you think that, I don't know, the sun affects people's metabolism, you're going to teach everything from that point of view, that we need to get in the sun more often. You'd be telling people that they need to, make sure that they get out with less clothes so that the sun touches their skin. And it would touch a lot of different subjects that you were talking about. And so when we have a worldview that affects everything that we teach, because we teach that God created man and that he created the world and that we are sinners in front of a holy God, and that he sent Jesus to the world, it affects everything. God made math. God made the laws of nature that we have to live by, because I can't just decide I don't like gravity, so I'm not going to live by that law. If I jump off a cliff, gravity is going to affect me. And so yes, it takes me that long to teach my kids. It's not just something that I can say, yes, they can go to school all day long, and when they get home, I'll teach them that God's important too, because God is part of everything that we do. So yes, it's important. I have some people who have who have asked on this and other things about my children and how they won't know how to live in the real world or interact with people because they're so sheltered. And I do say that my children are sheltered because I make sure that I know what they are being taught and that I can address those things with them. But just within the last couple weeks, my kids have been out with me to the Lobster Festival, which is our local fair. And we have talked to the Coast Guard guys. We've been talking to the people who make art at the different things. We talked to the lady in the children's tent. We talked to the people with the animals. We talked to all of them, and we were asking them, what do you like about your job? What's your favorite part of having people here? All of those different things. We talked about all of that with those people. We also went to a Touch a Truck event where my kids talked to firefighters, police officers, EMTs, construction workers, and they found out about the world through their eyes. We have gone to the library, so we've talked to the librarians and things there. We've gone to church and talked to people there. We had a church camp. We went to like a camp, and so we talked to people that weren't part of our church that were there that day, and my kids got to see other people that aren't in our regular daily lives. Trying to think. We go out on a regular basis. We're going to go to the Owl's Head Transportation Museum tomorrow and talk to people from all walks of life, that the reason that they're together is because they like cars and airplanes, has nothing to do with their religion. And we're going to go out and talk to those people and be friendly with them. And my kids actually know how to talk to people about things in the real world. Whoa. We also had a comment. People were asking about government, and if we don't like government schools so much, like we're against the government, is pretty much what they were saying. You can be against something that someone does without hating the person or the establishment. So if our library decided to hold a pie eating contest, and they were like, oh, it'd be great for people to do. And I was like, you know what? I don't think so, because you're encouraging people to eat way more than they need to, and people are going to get sick, and, all these reasons, you shouldn't waste the money on that. All these reasons. I could have tons of reasons of why I did not support the pie eating contest at my library, and I can still like the library. I know that we live in a society where we think if you don't like if I don't totally agree with you on something, I hate you, and that's not true. I can still like you as a person. I can still love you as a person without agreeing with everything you do. And so people watching this channel, you can disagree with something I say, but you don't have to be hateful to me or to other people and act like we're the big meanies because we talk about the things we love. I love homeschooling, and I want to encourage moms that if they want to homeschool, they can do it. My channel is here because I want to encourage moms that are thinking about homeschooling and tell them, if you want to do this, yes, you can. That's why I'm here. I think people watch my channel and they already have preconceived notions of what they think about me because of what we wear or something else you've seen on my channel. But what I want to do is to say, yes, this is something you can do. I'm not trying to make people feel guilty or feel like I'm talking down to certain people, unless it's about sin, because God's word is true and I am just the messenger of what God's saying. But in something like homeschooling versus public schooling, I am trying to encourage people that if you want to homeschool, yes, do it. And if something I said hits you wrong, maybe you're not understanding the heart of what I'm saying, or maybe I misspoke on a video, and it happens. If I'm putting this much of myself out here and I am talking so much of the things that I'm doing, there's going to be times that I'm going to misspeak and I'm going to say something that I didn't really mean and not even realize that I said it. But if you knew my heart and where these videos were coming from, and you could see through, like, oh, she said this and I don't agree with that. Is that what the rest of the message was saying? Because I really want to be an encouragement to people. I did the video about how to save money with homeschooling because we have lived on a very tight budget, and there's been times where I would have found other ways to do school instead of sending my kids to public school. But I've never had to do that. Like, I've never had to go to like super extreme measures of, okay, well, we need to write today, so let's go out and find a stick and do it in the dirt. We do write in the dirt, but that's not been where I have to be, like what I have to be doing. But there are places around this world that have limited paper, whether it be in their home or within their school, have limited paper, and they need to write small so they can fit as much as they want to on that piece of paper. We have been blessed that I have lots of paper, and I'm not saying I let my kids waste it, but I don't have to make them write really, really tiny so that we can make sure that we don't run out of paper before the end of the school year. But the things I said on the video about like cutting up a Walmart bag and everything is totally a legitimate way to write. There are people who are going to be great writers who learned to write on a paper bag or on a napkin. How many great poems and things have been written on a napkin at a restaurant, not on a regular piece of paper? So what's wrong if my child does it? Because that's what I have access to at that moment. I'm trying to encourage other moms, not say that, no, don't actually care about your children's education and just make them write on napkins all the time. I'm just saying that if there's a will, there's a way, and you're going to make sure that your kids get the education you want them to have. In the video, I said, I don't even know exactly how I said it, so I'm going to restate it. My main goal for home educating my children is not to make academically perfect children. My main goal is to teach them about God and the world around them and family values and all of that stuff. And in the process, my kids are doing well academically. But that's not my main goal. If you look at the state of Maine, they have really bad reading and math scores for our schools. Their education director or superintendent of education, whoever it was, said that those scores are not as important as making sure that we have taught the kids social skills. So if the public school is putting social skills ahead of math and reading, there's nothing wrong with me saying that for my kids, we are putting social skills and teaching about God before math and reading, because that's what the public school systems are doing. So anyway, that was to answer some of the questions. I asked that the people who are writing on my comments are being kind to other people who are writing on my comments. We had a situation the other day where someone corrected someone else's grammar, and I'm a busy mom. When I am writing my writing comments, writing on my description and things like that, I don't always have a chance to go back and reread what I wrote. I might have even planned to say the right word and autocorrect got me. So I am not going to be fussy about anyone's grammar on my page unless I don't understand what you're saying, because sometimes autocorrect does that, is it puts in another word that makes totally no sense and I can't answer your question. But that is, I just want people to be kind. We are all here to learn from each other, or I hope that's why you're here. I hope that you're here to learn from each other. We can agree to disagree, but this is my channel and I want it to be a place that's uplifting. I want to answer questions so that other homeschoolers know how to answer the questions if someone asks them, but I don't want to have comments that are full of hate or meanness or saying things that aren't true about our family. So it's another warning because I haven't had to delete any comments. I haven't had to delete very many comments since the last video I made. But when I start talking about homeschooling, it seems that everybody starts to pick on the homeschoolers that are commenting on my thread, and this is not going to be a place for bullying. So that is what I have to say. I might have to come back with an addition to this because I'm going to have Mark watch this video and make sure that I was being kind and nice to everybody as I said these things. But to pick on people who homeschool is a very sad state. Also, I've had a couple people who have commented that said they don't know how someone could teach their children because they don't know enough. They don't feel confident teaching their own children, that type of thing. I was raised from K through 12, like kindergarten through 12th grade, in a public school system. And there are things that I have to learn or relearn so that I can teach my children. And that's who you're saying I should send my children to. So I think we have to reevaluate. If you did public school the whole way through and you don't feel confident enough to teach your own children the things that they were supposed to teach you, then is that the person you want to be sending your kids to? Or do you want to learn alongside them so that you can have the information also? Because it's always better to better ourselves. Our family has been doing, this isn't a sponsorship, so I'm not going to say the name or anything, but we've been doing a program on the computer right now where we are learning as a family every day about logic and about circuits and about gears and all kinds of things. And there are things on there that I don't always know the answer to, or I have to like really think to get the answer. And so it's always good to be improving yourself. So as a homeschool mom, you get to improve yourself because you get to learn a little bit of all the subjects. And if you can't do that, if there's like math just does not make sense to you and you need your kids to know how to do that, then you have resources online. You can pay for programs, and there's even free things online where you can learn math concepts and you can have your kid do a math program. So all of kids can learn within the confines of their home, even if their parent doesn't know that subject. So anyway, we will see you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God. Be kind down below. We'll see you guys next time.